Oh, that's a good like before right there. We are coming back at you, not live, with a new video of our restoration work because a lot's been going on for a change, right?
I don't know if it's for a change.
Well,
feels like a lot. Here's the deal.
We've had more progress.
A lot has been going on, and I'm afraid it's about to not be going on.
Because of the weather?
Because it's about to...
It's getting cold.
Work is about to be halted by forces beyond our control.
My face hurts right now.
I know, so I'm not...
It's a little chilly.
I look like I'm not smiling at them, but I can't move my face.
It's only chilly right now, and it's going to get down to like 9.
Yeah. Yes.
So, for all of you people up north, you're laughing at us now.
We hate
That's
this.
cold here.
This is horrible.
It's really cold.
Work will stop.
Yes.
Work will cease. Because...
But we have accomplished a lot since the last video.
Well, I would say we've made a lot of discoveries. And if you want to look at it like we've accomplished a lot, I'm on board with that.
Okay.
Since we had to make some very unintentional major changes.
Well, we did in the front rooms, yeah.
The big news this week is, whoops, we found some things that I guess we're glad we found before we like moved in and got all our stuff in there, and we're like, the house is done, but then it caused a lot of some. We should explain. Yes.
Lane wanted to look under. There's one small window. Let's see if I can point at it. Is that the right side? Yes, it is. Over there. There's one small window, and so it's not symmetrical, and a small door. So we were trying to discover, was it a longer window that they shortened because they put a weird bathroom there. So she said, let's knock out below that.
Yeah, I truly assumed that we would knock out below that window and it would be like, look, here's the proof that it was a long window. Hooray!
Right.
We'll put a long window back in.
And I don't know if you remember, we were going to save the plaster in the parlor, that room, the dining room. I guess that's it.
Yeah, but those are 3 really big spaces.
Yeah, large spaces. And we were going to save all of that plaster. So we did knock out under that window, and we did not find what we thought we would find.
Not at all.
That's about, was it a laptop holder?
I mean, what is this? I have no idea.
You put your laptop there, there's your work. This is an office. Figured it out. But what we found was...
More boutillage.
And
more baton.
2 really long ones, like really good ones.
And a bunch of mold.
So that's when we decided we're going to have to take all this plaster out because otherwise we're going to have mold forever and ever.
Yeah. Well, and it was more the risk of mold. I truly thought because the top seals are so thick and wide, I thought that the water's not going to we're not going to have water intrusion in here. I really didn't think we would, and I wasn't worried about mold. We found it in the one spot, and so we decided, let's demo out the rest of this plaster to make sure we don't have mold. And guess what? I was correct. There was no water intrusion anywhere else.
We didn't really find any more mold. No.
Plaster. Hey, my sweet friends. One of the questions, or really one of the compliments that I get, one of the rare compliments that I will get, is on my skin. People want to know, how does my skin look as fresh and healthy and a little bit young as it does at my age? Of course, it's always at my age. How does it look this good? And they're not wrong. My skin is something that's always been problematic for me, and especially now that we're working in this environment that's full of so much dirt, so much soot, so much grime. I come home at the end of the day and my face is nasty. One of my favorite secrets is my Luna 4 by Foreo. Luna 4 uses T-sonic pulsations and velvety soft silicone touch points to remove impurities trapped deep within pores. It's clinically proven to remove 99% of dirt, oil, and makeup residue, and is 35 times more hygienic than brushes with nylon bristles. Dampen your face and apply your cleanser. Wet the device. Press the universal button to turn on. Choose regular, gentle, or deep cleansing mode. Gently glide the device in a circular motion over your face and neck. Then, press the universal button to power off and rinse your face and gently pat dry. So that's it. The simple, easy way to clean all of the gunk out of your skin and have young, glowing, vibrant skin. So follow the link in the description below to see your clinically proven results and get 21% off your Luna 4. Again, follow the link in the description below to get 21% off your Luna 4 and get the cleanest, freshest skin you've ever had. Let's have a timeline walkthrough of the house. This is the front parlor, which it is hypothesized is the first room constructed. Easily substantiated by all of the hand-hewn beams in the room, around the room, as well as the extensive use of buissage in the construction. It's all of these original beams. You can see that at some point there was a window. This is not an original timber. This is an original timber. This is a cutout for a window. See those square cut nails right there? And those square cut nails right there would have held the top of the window that would have been right here. This would have been a solid wall, and then the same situation is over here. I can't show you the bottom because the because the mirror's in front of it, but we actually have the window header still extant here. That's the window header. So this is the original room. Then we extended at some point very early into this room. Now this room is weird because inside this wall we have the buissage with extant baton. So this front wall of the house, this smaller window that is here, the shorter door that are here are part of the first extension. But then these walls are timber frame. We don't see the buissage in these two walls. So somebody riddle me that. This is probably build phase 3 as we come into what is the dining room. Timber framing, not buissage in here, but still some hand-hewn work in the beams. So early, we have both pit-sawn and hand-hewn in here. This is going to be either part of the 3rd build period or possibly even a 4th build period. This is all timber frame. This is that closet where this wall is original. You can see the original top plate that actually bends down. This is where that frame on the inside is a finished door surround. So the wall that you see in there is not original. So now we're going to go into the 4th build period of the house, which is this room. Could have been an extension of the 3rd period, but really feels like a 4th, because these timbers that make this wall that are not part of that kitchen build, this is a non-original wall, these are still pit-sawn beams. They do not have sawmill marks on them. So they're still extremely early. Then we have the buissage wall of the front parlor. The buissage runs all the way to here. This is where the two structures are pegged together. That's that 2nd build period room, and this is the end of the 4th build period room. So I'm pretty confident that we have 4 very early build periods. So like 1789, very shortly thereafter, very shortly thereafter, very shortly thereafter, and then very shortly thereafter. Maybe up to 1820, because we think here we've got 1820 and then down to 1840 and 50.
Well, one of the discoveries we made when we opened up the rest of the wall was what was going on with the cladding we could see in the little corner of the kitchen that was kind of opened up into the pocket door. And It looked like it was siding, but it wasn't lapped at all. It's just one on top of the other.
Yeah, which I told him is absolutely not unusual at all for the build period. That's, we had a couple of people say, well, it's not lapped. Well, that's not unusual at all. As a matter of fact, a non-lapped siding was used right up through the Greek Revival period to get a really nice flat surface. Once it's painted, they wanted it to look very, very flat. I was not disturbed by the fact that it wasn't lapped at all.
I wonder if does the Bussiage mud keep water out, you think, or just like protect you from water?
I mean, I would assume that it makes a completely solid inner surface. Yeah.
Yeah. So then it wouldn't matter as much, I guess.
Yeah. You got a solid wall. Yeah. Most of the time they actually just whitewashed over the Bussiage itself. They didn't even flat it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we did open that up, we found out that it is in fact cladding. But one of the things that threw us off was it was nailed to the Bussiage boards, but the Bussiage boards are like 4 feet apart. It's like really wide. And they'd come back in with studs that were still like 3 by 6, like huge. And it wasn't nailed to those. And we could see that it wasn't. That's why we were confused.
Right. Before we opened the walls, we could only see that it was not nailed to what appeared to be the exterior of the original 1789 portion. It looked like they were just kind of floating in the wall, not nailed to that stud. Well, that's probably an 1810 stud added when they did the second, or 1820 stud that was added when they did the 1820 extension. So it wasn't until we opened up all that lath and plaster that we could see that those cladding boards are all nailed to the Bussiage, and they are on both sides of the pocket door. Not only did we find cladding, we found where we think some windows would have been.
That's right. Yeah, then that was a very interesting
Or possibly some doors. We really don't know. It looked like windows. But then again, if those were windows, why is there cladding there?
Well, that's a good point.
Right?
Well, you just thought of that, didn't
I did.
you? Oh my gosh. That's a good point.
They certainly appear to be window
Wow.
marks, but there's cladding there, and so there's no windows. Oh, mystery of life at last I found you.
One of the other big mysteries was we always thought that the main parlor was the first original thing built. So then when we dug under that small window, we found the Bussiage there, which meant that was as old, I would think. But then we go in the sidewall and there was no Bussiage.
Yes, timber frame. It's so many mysteries.
Very confusing.
So this wall, I don't see any Bussiage, but I do see these have been cut at some point. So these are weird. I don't know what they are or when they are, but they're different depths. They're a completely different measurement than these. And they've been, but there's nails at the bottom of them.
You don't see any Bussiage slats on those at all?
Nope. So we have a Bussiage front wall, and we have like a balloon frame side wall. This makes no sense at all. Many mysteries when you have a home that was built onto continuously for, I would say, a good 60 years, sort of was a continuous construction project for 60 years at least. And then we have a massive renovation in 1926. Not just like a little change here and a little change there, but I mean, we are talking a massive, massive renovation. It was a renovation in 26. No shade, because restoration, preservation, rehabilitation were not a thing.
That was highest and best back then.
She did highest and best for 26. So there's a lot of things that we are having a hard time trusting when we first see them. We're having a hard time believing when we first see them. We don't really know what's going on there, especially over in the L. We don't believe anything over there. Do not believe what your eyes tell you, because Catherine Miller, who did the renovation in 26, really did do the most expensive, the highest, the best work. So it is good enough to fool the eye. You could still get like quality timber. You could have like quality millwork done. And now that it's burned. So not only is it so similar,
It's even harder to
but it's
tell.
got char all over it.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's really been, I think, the biggest challenge is trying to understand the L.
Yeah. I was going to say every time we solve one mystery, another appears, but I'm not sure if we've really
I don't
solved
think we've
any
solved
mysteries.
anything yet.
No.
All we know is that some part of this house is really, really, really old.
Right.
And then,
I still wonder, because we know people have been living here
I know.
since before 1723, but I still wonder if they didn't use some of the timbers or, reuse some of the built.
I just know, this is what I know from the history, and I know that our local historians do not agree with me, and that is completely fine. But I know that in the deed record, when the deed is passed to Carlos de Grand Prix in 1789, it is recorded as a farm with structures. And we know that he entertained dignitaries within the year in his fine home. So I find it really difficult to believe that he would have been able to throw up a very complex build, which this Bussiage construction is a complex build, in such a short amount of time to then have people in his home. But maybe he did. Who knows? We will never know. And that's the frustrating thing, is we'll never know.
Until we finish that time machine,
yeah,
we're never going to know.
So should we talk about the L? And well, let's talk about because to me, the basement is a world of wonders. And
Yeah.
we're starting on the rebuilding of the porches. And we have a little damage.
Not too bad. I mean, but it's thick. What are those timbers? Did y'all measure them by any
We did
chance?
measure them.
They're probably 10 by 14. I mean, they're
huge.
They're railroad ties. They're bigger than railroad ties.
They're like 4 railroad ties
Yeah,
put together.
yeah.
But I don't think the ones in the basement are as thick, so we might have to
really?
clad them.
Oh,
yes, but
shoot.
they are hand hewn. In the basement, we have 2 enormous hand hewn beams. Like maybe these were just leftovers they had, and they're sitting in the dugout part of the basement under the original structure. So I like to believe they've been here for a while. Now they could have been salvaged from another site, brought in, but I would say they're of the period. So we're going to try to use those.
Yeah, that's the perfect place to use that one. I mean, when we found those, we were like, gold.
Go, little treasure. And there's so much treasure under there.
Oh,
There's so
yeah,
much treasure.
yeah.
There's a marble graveyard under the house. I don't really know. It's like where all the marble in Natchez went to die. Pieces that are worked, carved.
I know.
I thought there's a top or bottom of a column under there.
We're going to have to find a use for every
I don't know
single piece.
what
I don't know,
that is,
somehow.
but it's under there. So we'll be doing that, and then we're going to finish those. And then we've got Brent working on the porches to get those done, because once we get the porches done, then what's going to happen?
We are going to actually put trusses, rafters on this home.
This house about to get a roof.
Brent and I have gone. We have built and rebuilt the trusses in our brains
so
1,000 times,
no
so that no one's worried.
Inspector or anybody flips out.
we-
We had Belinda Stewart Architects come and do all the measurements, and then we paid a lot of money for a civil engineer to do the design for the trusses.
Yeah.
But we are going to stick build those on site, because otherwise it's just going to walk all over the place.
Yeah.
You can't pre-make trusses on a house that's
We
built like this.
We've done our best to bring the walls square. The ceiling joists were able to help us do that a little bit too. But it's never going to be
on
square.
the L especially, the L is so long. The L is what, 70 feet long?
That sounds about right.
It's 2 inches off from one end to the other. It tilts 2 inches. I don't know what that is in angles, but it's off of its 90-degree angle by 2 full inches at the other end. So you can't just like build some trusses and stick them on the roof.
Can't all do the same.
That won't happen.
No, but I'm real excited to finally get to that point, because it's been keeping me up at night, and I think about trusses and rafters
No one has
nonstop.
ever thought of trusses more than this man has thought
I
of
hope
trusses.
someone has, but so anyway, we're real excited to do that. Have all of our ceiling joists done. We've got all of our webbing in between all those to keep them really, really sound and strong. We made a huge find in the woods. Actually, Brent found it for us, and we've been trudging back and forth in those woods 2 or 3 times. We just really hadn't gone that far toward the street.
Toward Duncan Avenue.
Toward Duncan Avenue, yeah. So he found it. We went back there and found what?
a well.
We found a well.
And it does, in fact, look like the well from The Ring. So for all of you who want to, yeah, it absolutely
Just go ahead and go
looks
there.
like some soulless demon is going to just disembody double joint herself right out of that hole at some point. It is a dug well. It's not brick lined. There's no container down there. It has a little bit of brickwork covered in stucco or Portland cement. Who knows when that could have happened, but it is just a dug well out in the middle of the woods.
And evidence of structure
Yes.
all over there from who knows what time periods. It's so hard to say because there's stuff could have been as old as 60, 70 years ago.
Yeah.
And then maybe 200 years
Yes.
ago. It's hard.
Again, who
it's
knows?
really hard to tell.
It's a mystery.
We are going to get our friend Smokey Joe, I think, out here,
Yes.
and maybe he can help a little bit.
The thing that makes it really difficult too is nobody in recent memory remembers any structures being out there. So we're good friends with the great niece of Catherine Grafton Miller, who owned this from 26 until Miss Ethel Banta
Shout out, Elodie. Hello,
bought
Elodie.
it. And Elodie remembers no structures out in that part. She remembers the cottage very well. She knew the cottage. She knew exactly who lived in the cottage, what it was for, but she does not remember any structures in the woods. So we know in Elodie's lifetime, we can pretty safely say there have been no standing structures in that part of the woods or mention of them. So that makes me think that even from 1926 onward, there were no structures that were in use because Catherine never mentioned them to anyone.
And just so you know, that has always been part of this property.
Yes.
It was not bought at some other time.
I mean, like since 1723, that's been Hope Farm.
Right.
So whatever was built out there was part of Hope Farm. And we have a million guesses. We don't know if any of them are even close to correct. And again, like Kevin said, the problem is they're all handmade bricks that are out there. So the bricks could be 200 years old. But then there's some of them that are covered in Portland cement. So that means maybe somebody covered the 200-year-old bricks in the 1950s with some Portland cement because they were falling apart. It's just anybody's guess.
It's still exciting.
But it's still incredibly exciting to stumble into the woods and find a well you didn't know that was there. And somebody on Instagram was like, "Oh no, what if there's dead bodies in the bottom?" And I was like, "I hope." I hope.
Maybe they'll have a ring on that has their name on it or something, and we'll know who they
There's
are.
also, so it's funny to think too when you go into our woods. It's funny to think about a time when there was no municipal trash pickup, because we found what's left of a refrigerator from probably the 30s, a stove from around the same time period, more bottles and tins and cans than you can imagine. Shoes.
Lots of shoes.
Lots of shoes.
Yeah.
Lots of shoes.
A few pieces of dishware that were not broken in any way. So like I'm going, why did they throw this out here? I have no idea.
She did not like Eula's fish mug.
A couple of pieces we'll put in the cottage that are really cute from the 50s probably.
She did not appreciate Eula's fish jug.
It's getting me. Get it.
It's just
Get
a
it.
stick. It's
Is
a
it
stick.
a snake?
It's a stick.
Is it a walking stick?
It's just a stick.
Is it alive?
You're in the forest.
The forest is alive.
Well, you're not wrong there, although it's sleeping, so I think you're okay. Show me what you found. What is that?
This is about a $14,000 fish mug.
You think so?
At least.
Okay.
And
where did you find it?
found it right over there in these woods, and the woods themselves are millennial old.
Okay.
So there you go. Eula made this.
Eula?
It's signed on the bottom, Eula. Probably can't see it, but she signed it, and I think it's one of a kind.
Eula. So
sure.
that's today's find on trudging through the forest
Stick.
with Kevin. Just a stick.
Just a stick.
I can just tell you that right now.
Eula worked really hard on that fish jug.
Yes. My aunt messaged me and said the color is what your grandmother used to call muckly duck, and she hated it.
Yeah,
And I said,
yeah.
I know, that's what color she called my eyes.
Oh.
She didn't like them. So there you go.
Grandmother.
I know.
Bad.
I know.
And so what else in the main house? Anything else? We go to the cottage now?
I'm trying to think. Over in the L, we got a lot of fire blocking done. Fire blocking, very important.
Yes.
That's been done to keep any future fires from running up the walls and burning the whole thing to the ground. All of the ceiling joists are in, which I don't think we did have to. So the outside
level up.
Oh no, I'm talking about the outside wall.
Oh, yeah.
So the second story of the far wall was like this, and we had to pull it back over and tie it all together. So that we finally got done. So basically there is an actual structure on the second story of the L now, framed up by a bunch of windows and doors. And again, we're waiting for that decking to get done so we can start a roof structure.
I mean, it's coming.
It is coming.
We've actually recovered greatly from the great tree fall of '03 of 23, and built back our room behind there and come a long way with the roof.
Got a new roof.
Yeah, and
Re-tuck pointed the chimney.
Things are moving there.
Is it re-tuck pointed or just tuck pointed?
Oh, just tuck pointed. I think
it's just tuck pointed.
I think it's like
it's to repoint
laid and then it's
to
tuck
lay
pointed.
Oh.
What?
I thought you were like doing the. I thought you were conjugating to lay.
Lay, lie, low.
No, but so it's either re-point or tuck point. So I was getting re-point and tuck point confused.
I've never done that before. So.
Well, imagine that.
I know.
So we're making good. Oh, you want to talk? You want to tell them about my door that I bought?
Oh, yeah. Lane bought the cutest little Dutch door, which for some reason.
New Hampshire.
Did you hear me call it Dutch door? Because we've been having like, what are those doors called? What are they called? What are they called?
Came right back up to you when you needed it.
Bam, Dutch door. Cutest little Dutch door. Had it shipped here from New Hampshire. Old.
Yeah.
And just
exactly
so excited.
What I wanted.
Has a screen door. And so we leaned it up there and we're going to put it in. It's all of 5'8". I mean, it really comes to about right there on me, maybe.
Look, when I checked the measurement, I was worried about the width.
Width is good. The width is excellent. But yeah, they cut it down at some point, put it in some child's playhouse or something. I don't know.
And they didn't tell me. So don't know that I'll be using that architectural salvage place again. I guess they assumed I would be smart enough to measure and realize that it was
it's that tall.
This tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we're going to make it work because it's wonderful and darling and so cute.
At first I was like, you know what? It's cute. I'll duck when I walk in, right?
Yeah, that's what you said.
And then we actually put the framing up for it and it was
but did they
it was
raise
literally this below.
But did they raise it like I wanted you to step into the front door. I wanted them to raise it up where the bottom of the door is level with the floor.
They have to a little bit, but they put a little transition there.
I didn't see it, so I still don't believe that it had been raised high enough. But y'all just keep on something else.
I mean, if we
the
were
men are just like continually talking about how we gonna do this and how we gonna do that and how we gonna do this, and my head is about to explode because just do it.
Now we're gonna build the bottom of the door out.
To be fixed, so somebody just fix the bottom of the door.
Well, yeah. So part of the day in our life, because of course the wood width is nothing you can go by. So we're going to go back out to Max and see if we can find a board that is the right width that we can use to fix that door. We're going to peg it up, paint it. It's going to be over 5'9".
Cute little cottage door. Cute little cottage door.
Oh my goodness. So what else? Everything's coming along in there. About ready to put our flooring down.
Yeah.
Got our plumbing and electrical roughed in.
I also spent a lot of time this week studying the plants on the property. This is camellia blooming season. So camellias are a huge part of the cultural history here in southern Mississippi and Louisiana. We got to go to a luncheon. Our garden club had a luncheon featuring the author of Historic Camellias of Louisiana, which was fascinating, but we have some unbelievably monumental specimens here on the property that, from the size of the trunks, I think many of them are well over 100 years old, early varieties. So before the freeze, I have run around like a crazy woman trying to map where they are, what the bloom looks like. Our friends Jim and Ruthie Coy came over. Ruthie's family home, Greenleaves, is actually called Greenleaves because of the beautiful variety of camellias that are there, historic camellias that are there. So she knows a lot about them. She was able to help me identify several of the species that are blooming. And we're just praying
that they make it.
That the freeze does not nip the buds that have yet to open, so that I can see what else we have coming. Because camellias, one of the things that's so great about the South is that, especially the further south you get, things bloom all year. So once our summer annuals and perennials die out, which there's actually still a lot of the summer flowers are still blooming here in.
Tell them what zone. What are
9. We're zone 9 now.
Zone 9 for our gardeners.
The camellias start blooming, and they start blooming like in November. I swear we had one blooming in October, and they bloom all the way through February. And then once they're done, everything else starts blooming.
Time for
so
spring.
It's green and there's flowers all year round. And we're so excited. And really, it's really special to have not only a structure that's historic and this amazing and this old, but plantings that are this old as well.
I almost feel more pressure.
Oh, I absolutely do.
To keep those plants alive.
I absolutely, remember I told you when we bought the house, I am way less intimidated by the house than I am the gardens.
The gardens.
Getting the gardens back.
Yeah.
Because almost everything that you read about Hope Farm from the beginning, from 1789, talks about the gardens. Yay for us. That's something else that we've got to completely redo.
Yes.
So that'll be,
it's going to be okay.
But that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
It will
can
be.
take a long time, and that'll be okay.
As long as we don't lose any, we can bring them back to beauty and shape them up and all of that.
And if we do lose some, I now know where to go down into Louisiana and buy them, so I can do that. But we hope we don't lose any.
I think that's it for now, isn't it?
I'm sure there's so much more.
Well,
and when we're done here, we're going to be like, oh, we didn't talk about this. Oh, we didn't talk about that. Oh, we didn't talk about this. But I think that's about what's going on.
That's a lot, but really it's only been a couple of weeks since our last restoration video. So.
But there's so much happening right now.
Yeah, so that's good.
We thought we'd go ahead and give you one though, because like I said, we fear that with the cold coming, that nothing's going to be happening. What do you think? Do you think they'll suck it up and work?
Well, I mean, if it were me, I definitely would not.
I'm not asking what you would do. I know what you would do.
Maybe. They may just take one day off. There's only one day that's actually the high is below freezing. So, you know, the low is pretty bad.
And again, no, I'm not guilting anybody. I'm just wondering what will happen.
We'll see. But I think, you know, hopefully after that it'll warm up like normal Natchez, and it'll be in the 40s and 50s, and it will be working weather. We can get things done.
We have to have our winter. Ruthie told me today that they would say we're having a winter, which means like 4 days of cold.
Right, which we used to experience in Florida too.
We're gonna go next week, and we're gonna have a winter, and then we're gonna get back to work.
Back to normal Natchez. Thanks for being there with us, guys. Subscribe,
thumbs
like,
up,
share. Appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Oh, and don't forget. March 15th, 16th, and 17th, the Restoring Hope Weekend. The next one's coming up. 9 meals, 7 houses, 3 parties. Come party with us in Natchez at Spring Pilgrimage. We're going to have buses to take you all over the place.
Got the music going right there, boy.
Come enjoy some time in Natchez, Mississippi with us. Ticket sales will start February the 1st, so be watching for those. They will be very, very limited, but we would love to have you come and let us introduce you to our beautiful city of Natchez, Mississippi, and show you, I think, the one place in the United States where you can walk the entire architectural past of the nation. We have prehistory, we have indigenous history, we have Spanish, French, British, colonial and territorial history, then right up through colonial, federal, Greek revival, Gothic, all the way. So come see this nation's architectural past all in one spot, all in one weekend.
Centrally located near you. And if you are a member of our Restoration Nations, if you are a citizen, which you can join through our website, you will be able to order tickets early, and we will have special events just for you.
2 special parties.
Yes, just for you. So join us. Appreciate you guys being there. We will see you next time.
See you. Bye.
Bye.